Doug High was once the communications director for the Republican National Committee. Doug, great to see you again. The defense today used some veiled threats for Republicans who go against Trump. We heard it there from the president's own words when he said you could be primaried, that was his word, if you failed to fight for him, or in this case, if you vote to convict. Break down the potential political consequences for those who break ranks.
Yeah, well, it's not new. This is language that we've heard from the president. We've heard it from his family members, other members of the administration, some variation of the old mob tactic of, it's a nice little Republican Party you have here. It'd be a shame if something happened to it. And we saw it obviously play out today. And this is exactly what Republican members of Congress and Republican senators are most concerned about, their own reelection. What a shock that politicians are concerned with their own reelection. But it's not about losing in November, especially in congressional districts, which can be drawn more to your favor, but in losing in your primary. I worked for Eric Cantor, right? He was supposed to be the next Speaker of the House and lost his primary. Republicans have learned from that. And so when you have a Republican member or Republican president in your own party basically threatening your own reelection, it causes a lot of members to stand up and question what they're going to do. And also because this is exactly what they're hearing from their voters. Contessa, I spoke to a now retired Republican member in December who showed me a text message that he got from a longtime donor about how America is turning into China and kind of crazy things like this. And he told me, this person isn't crazy, and I hear stuff like this all the time. It scares members. So
if you're going out and you're looking ahead a year and a half to intense congressional races, if you have stiff challenges from more radical, conservative political people, do you think that there's a chance that what you end up is actually in the general elections more Democrats joining in the House, joining in the Senate?
Potentially so. Look, historically, obviously, 2 years into an administration, the other party benefits. But what we're seeing right now politically is more than 140,000 Republicans since January 6th have left the Republican Party compared to a much, much smaller number of Democrats. So the Republican Party is getting smaller, which also means it's getting Trumpier. So we have two problems there for Republicans. Short term, you're getting Trumpier, which is going to turn off voters. Long term, how do you get those voters back? It's a very existential problem for Republicans that they have to figure out to address. And this is what is playing out in the Republican conference right now. Lynn Cheney had that massive, massive victory to keep her seat as the conference chair. And at that same meeting, Marjorie Taylor Greene got a standing ovation. Those two things shouldn't be able to happen at the same time.
I want to ask you about something that the former representative to the United Nations under Trump, a member of Trump's administration, who was able to resign gracefully, something that she said, we need to acknowledge he let us down. He went down a path he shouldn't have, and we shouldn't have followed him, and we shouldn't have listened to him, and we can't ever let that happen again. It seems to me, Doug, that this is a moment where Republicans are going to have to pick a side, and history will judge them.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely true. And the vote on impeachment is going to be what most of these people are remembered for. What Nikki Haley said shows, and it's what I hear so often from Republican members and senators, they want to put Donald Trump in the rearview mirror. The problem is they're just not allowed to do so from Trump and from his voters.
She says he's not going to run for federal office again. Do you think he will?
You never know what he's going to do, except that he's going to stir up trouble and make news wherever he can. I liken Donald Trump, Contessa, to a bad guy professional wrestler. You can cheer him and you can boo him, but as long as you watch, he's going to be happy.
Doug High. Thank you, Doug.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.